What's up, everybody? It is I, Sigma, and we are back with episode 30 of the BBET GamesCast. I'm joined by Superman Jeff.
What's going on, people?
As well as Mr. Gamer.
Hello there.
And Blue Bones.
It's your boy. What's going on, fam?
So you see that intro is slightly longer. That's because Mr. Gamer is now an official, full-fledged member of the BBET.
Hey.
So he's not a guest anymore. He's going to be on these podcasts pretty much every week going forward, God willing. But as we do always, we're going to start with what we've been playing. And as you know, we've come off of a bit of a hiatus. We were away for the holidays. We're coming back. We're calling it Season 2. So we've probably got a lot of stuff that we've been able to play and fit into that time period. So does anybody want to go first? No, I can start.
I'll go first.
All right, go ahead.
First. So mostly been playing, and I think Blue kind of wraps into this. Mostly playing just a lot of Borderlands. A lot of Borderlands 3.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
Finished the main story, and hunting down those anointed weapons.
Yeah, man.
Me and
Is
Blue
that the class above Legendary? Anointed?
Yeah, it's a... So you'll get Legendary.
It's like an added feature.
Yes, then there's Legendaries that are anointed. Like blessed. Where they have an extra perk at the bottom that like drastically increases the weapon's damage.
Okay.
It's normally class specific.
Yes.
At least the good ones are.
There are some that are...
So wait, can you
after this,
get one that your class can't use?
Yes.
I picked up one for Siren.
Oh, that blows.
So what I did was I gave it to somebody who had a Siren class because.
Well, I guess it encourages the trading then.
Yeah. But
Or you could just make your own siren.
Who's
True.
got time for that?
This guy.
and
I'm
the
a
day
another
and age
character.
where I haven't been finishing games like that. Probably not gonna make another character.
Yeah, that's kind of the boat I'm in right now.
Yeah. So me and Blue, we were doing the Slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse 3000, bruh.
Now
Okay.
we almost finished it. Got a little hiccup at the end. Blue left. Blue had to go.
Was that the hiccup?
Blue had to go.
That was not the hiccup. You died first.
No, we died. We died. Look, Blue was like, I'm gonna pick you up. Oh no, never mind. I can't.
I couldn't. Like,
Well, to be fair, it's really difficult to pick people up in Borderlands 3 for some reason.
Yeah, it is kind of wonky.
Yeah, like if you move even a little bit, it just
You
like
just
That's
you don't
starts
have the
over
button
playing.
prompt anymore.
Yeah.
Usually I'll just focus on killing somebody to get up, but he was like, I'll pick you up. So I want him to feel like he was important. So I was like, okay, I'll let him.
wow.
So I left my feet in his hands, and guess what? I lost.
You did a trust fall,
getting a
and he
seat.
got distracted.
I didn't get distracted. I got distracted by trying to survive, I guess, maybe. Like that.
I went back on and I finished it. Wasn't
Wow.
really good rewards. So I did go back and do the slaughter something. There was another one. There's 3 of them.
Oh my goodness.
There's
I didn't even know that.
Yep.
the Siren of Sisters, and then there's the Slaughter House. No, we did Slaughterhouse. There's another one. There's a third one. The third one was a lot more rewarding. The first one we did, I didn't really get maybe 2 legendaries.
Mm-hmm.
This next one I did though, I got 11 legendaries by the time it was over.
Yeah.
So I did that one, and then I went on and did the. So they adjusted the Malawan takedown. Malawan takedown. Whenever you went in, it automatically scaled to as if you had 4 people, even if it was only one person in there.
Oh wow.
So for a short period of time, starting yesterday, they adjusted it so that way it scaled to 1 person if there's 1 person in there. So it's a lot easier now for solo players to go in and just play by themselves. So I went on and did some of that, and that was actually very rewarding as well. So I actually want to go ahead and probably do that another day. But I'm doing a lot of damage right now.
And that's all that matters.
A little bit of damage. And I think that's pretty much. Oh, played The Witcher on stream. So last Tuesday, this past Tuesday. Wednesday?
Yeah.
This past Wednesday.
That was a lot of
Wednesday.
fun.
We
Yeah.
played, yeah. So we did The Witcher on stream. Made some progress. I'm almost back to where my save progress was lost before. So in this particular playthrough, we're just at the point where everybody's going to come to Kaer Morhen and help repel the wild hunt.
Yeah, I was watching you. Oh, my bad, Blue. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do our viewers / listeners know what happened to your old save file, Jeff?
If you don't know, so I played The Witcher. I was pretty deep into it. I did a lot of side stuff. I think I was at least like 50 hours in.
Oh no!
And then the disc stopped reading. And I'm like, oh, what's wrong with the disc? So it would not read. So I'm like, okay. All right, so I would go buy another disc. But then I saw they had the Game of the Year edition for, like $20 more. Like, let me get that. So I get the Game of the Year edition, and the saves aren't compatible.
Yeah, they treat them like different games.
Yeah,
I
played
so
Dark
bad.
Souls 3, and I played that, and then I went and got the Game of the Year edition, and the saves were
Compatible.
This was a weird one where it wasn't, so
Not for
I
The
started
Witcher.
all the way over. So it's been a little uphill battle getting the encouragement to go back and do it again, because it's stuff I've already kind of went through, and this time I haven't been as detailed as far as doing all the side quests and hunting down the different pieces of armor to craft. So this time I just want to get back to where I was, then everything else will be a surprise, because I still haven't gone back and like spoiled anything for myself to know what goes on after that point.
Okay,
Right,
because it seemed like that was nearing the end of the game. Like, the name of the game is called The Wild Hunt, and that's what you guys were like. You were gathering a bunch of allies to come and prepare for, right? But that's what, still like the middle or something?
This is maybe like almost the middle, but there's still like at least like another 60 hours worth of gameplay.
Oh,
that's
my
crazy.
Goodness. So you about a third of the way in?
Yeah, mind you, I still got the Blood and Wine DLC, which is another 60 hours.
I heard that on its own is like amazing.
Like an entire
Just
whole
Blood and
game.
Wine. Yeah, that's what I've
And you
been
got
hearing.
the Heart and Stone, and then you got the what's the other one? But then Blood and Wine, Heart and Stone, and the other one I can't remember right now. But I still got 3 DLCs I haven't done. Now, what the game does allow you to do is you can start each DLC. It'll give you a preset of armor and whatnot for that level, but you then can't go back and do any of the main story stuff
With that character save, I guess.
with that character save.
That makes sense.
So, another game that did that was Assassin's Creed, but you could go back and do the main stuff as well. It'll boost you up to the level you need for the DLC, but you can then go back and do the main stuff if you want as well.
Got you.
And that's all I've been playing.
Cool.
All right.
Mr. Gamer, you want to go?
Yeah.
Or you want me?
How about you, Gamer?
All right, so let's see. Streamed Into the Gungeon. That was fun and heart pounding.
Bruh. You were going in on Saturday.
Oh my goodness! I screaming and controller shaking aside. It was a lot of fun. My wife actually got me.
Ooh, it's show and tell.
These little things right here, which attach to your Nintendo Switch, and if you notice, they are great.
Yeah.
For those that have big hands.
Oh
Because
my goodness.
it is really difficult to actually hold the Nintendo Switch portable.
It is. I hate playing it that way, to be honest.
But with these, it's like it's significantly easier, and that brought me right back into
What are those called, actually?
Yeah.
Are those do those go on top of the existing Joy-Cons, or are the actual Joy-Cons themselves?
So they're not really Joy-Cons, because these aren't powered on their own. They're just simply controller attachments. So they replace the Joy-Cons. So you just slide them in as if you were playing the Nintendo Switch, and they have a turbo button right here.
That takes it back. That's old school.
Yeah.
And just like with most Elite controllers, there's a button that you can assign to the back.
That is fire.
So,
who makes
So
that?
how's it powered?
Hori.
Okay, makes sense.
So, this was just having this. It got me right back into playing Pokemon, because I did pick up the expansion pass. So I've been playing.
Ooh.
Yep. So I have been playing quite a bit of Pokemon. I've also been playing Borderlands 3 with all of you guys.
Yeah, man.
And actually, a game that I was slowly getting back into was the Binding of Isaac.
Oh man.
Okay. Yeah, I played the prequel but sequel, The Legend of Bumbo, for review a little while back, but I never played
Yeah.
Isaac itself.
Yeah, so Isaac I own on Nintendo Switch and on PC, and I was recently playing like just like the vanilla, like no mods on the PC, and yeah, you can lose a lot of time. You can lose quite a bit of time, and finally, and I'm not gonna say Blue remembers this. So there was a video game that I was up until about 3-4 a.m. playing.
Oh yeah.
Called My Time at Portia.
Oh yeah, what is that?
So think of it as it's 3D Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon. That's basically what it is. You are given a workshop that you then have to make your workshop the best workshop by completing different tasks. So basically, it's the standard fare of you need to make some copper. Well, if you want to make copper, you got to go to the mines. You got to go mine it. But in order for you to do that, you need to go make a pickaxe. But in order for you to do that, you need to make an axe.
Okay, so
woods, pickaxe.
Just
and it just keeps going.
Yeah,
and
crafting hierarchy.
Yes.
Crafting chains.
But the thing about this one is you actually have to use raw materials to make the items to then smelt or forge the raw materials into something else. Like you make almost everything that you would actually use in your little workshop, and
That's kind of cool.
So
and
like, if you gotta poop, you gotta go make a porcelain toy.
yes, yeah. Like you can buy someone else's, or you can make your own toilet, and boom, there you go.
And then boom, that's what the kids call it.
I was gonna ask more about the customization of the toilet features, but I'll let you continue. What kind of slots they got?
You put some LED lights.
Well, so every item
this toilet.
I will say this: every item that you make in your house does give you stat bonuses.
What?
So you can make a table, you can make a couch, you can make a merry-go-round, you can make an alarm, you can make a washing machine, and all these things give you certain stats if you put them in your house.
Huh.
Wow.
So you can just cram your house full of couches and be super strong.
I have a side question to that.
Ooh.
Now, is that essentially what Animal Crossing is?
No, Animal Crossing is less crafting and more. Animal Crossing is less crafting and more so exploration, because
and like social exploration.
Yes, because Tom Nook typically gives you your house or something like that. So there's really nothing you need to make. Think of Animal Crossing as furry Sims almost.
Okay.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Okay. I've never been able to get into it, and I'm not a fan of The Sims either. So I guess that's why.
I never got into Animal Crossing, but then, like I said, I got the trailer and everybody's going like, "Oh,
my co-host Mr. Duvall has been counting down the days. I think 68 or 67 more days until the new Animal Crossing comes out. But that's basically what it is. You either manage a city, you manage a large town. Now I believe you're going to be managing a deserted island that is part of the Tom Nook vacation package. So the biggest thing that I was mentioned to me by my co-host was, "Oh my God, we can make paths." I'm like, what do you mean by that? It's like, we can make a path. Well, but can't you just walk on it? But no, it'll be faster. Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know why.
To
it's the
each
little
their
things in
own.
that game.
Yeah.
I used to play the GameCube version back in the day, and I don't know why I liked it. I can't honestly tell you why I spent so much time on it, but it was fun, and like it felt like the characters were real because of the passage of time, the real time
passage
passage
clock.
Yeah, it actually like transferred over to the game, so if you're away for a couple days, they're like, "Hey, how you been? I haven't seen you in a minute. I've been doing this since you gone." Like,
don't do that to me.
It's heavy because if you stop playing for real, like you come back months later, they're like, "Who are you again?
Yeah,
Where have you been? We thought you died." Like,
places.
You just left your son.
Like, sometimes it's that serious. And on the DS version, Isabel will give you like such a sad face because it's like, hey, it's been one day, it's been blah day, it's been 2,379 days since you last came, and then you'll see like the town is just
in shambles
and overrun.
That's funny.
Yeah,
and they blame you because
they really do. No one else can work in that town.
That reminds me of at the end of, was it Fable 2 or 3?
Okay.
After that war, you see all these dead bodies around town.
Oh, I think that's 3.
That was 3.
Yeah.
That's 3. Yeah.
Is that kind of how it is? You go around, you see
just dead animals strewn about.
Nintendo wouldn't let anything like that happen, but they do basically make you feel like you kicked a basket of small puppies off a cliff.
Yeah. Like the whole place is
Nintendo
desolated,
right off the
and you can bring it back, but it just takes time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll probably skip that.
Y'all see me a gamer on that one, probably.
So, Blue, did you want me to go next, or you got it?
Go for it. It's all good, bro.
So, like everyone else was saying, I've also been playing a bunch of Borderlands 3. Went and grabbed it during the break.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my whole thing is, I really don't like to play that game solo.
Yeah.
Like, in all honesty, I'm not having that much fun with Borderlands 3. Like, the game is fine. Like, it's okay. But, like, in terms of, like, the way it feels as a shooter, again, it's fine. Like...
Well, I do have something for you, though. So
yeah.
the DLC is supposed to be actually better than the main story.
But I'm not paying more to play more of a game that I haven't been enjoying for, like...
You'll pay for it eventually. But I just mean, like... I'm just giving you something to look forward to. And you're right, you probably need to play more as a foursome than just by yourself. Because you were struggling with getting it, so... You probably need to be immersed inside of the.
All right, so before Jeff just lies anymore, I'm going to say that I can't stop comparing it to Destiny, because Destiny took what Borderlands was and kind of turned it into a kind of a bigger living experience. You know what I mean? Like, it's the shooting, looting circle, like the gameplay loop, but it's just more fun to play moment to moment. Like, I would find myself running around on the planets in Destiny just shooting guys with no real goal in mind, because that just felt fun by itself. Yeah. And I cannot do that in Borderlands. Like, I get super bored. Like, I fall asleep in the middle of it, so I just turn it off or do something else. Like, if I'm not talking to, you know, one of you guys or somebody else who's playing the game with me, then, like, I really just lose interest in what I'm doing, because I've been trying to mainline the story. Like, I haven't been doing a lot of side quests, which I know for a fact tend to be more entertaining.
Yeah, you gotta do the side quests.
Because when you do the main missions, they're kind of far in between, and the side quests really fill up that space. So you're playing all the major points and not getting all the fill-in stuff in the middle. And
I mean, that's fair. Like, I've done, like, a couple here and there, and those have tended to be a bit more interesting than the story stuff. But I still feel like I'm underwhelmed by the guns a lot of the time. The abilities that they give you, they lock away most of them for so long. Like, I know it's not an issue anymore once you, like, get towards the end game, because you have everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, coming off of, and the thing is, it's been such a long time since Borderlands 2 came out. But now that you're in 3, for them to then go all the way back and say, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this until you get to a certain point in the story, just feels weird to me. Like, maybe everybody doesn't feel the same. Yeah, it's like this is basic stuff that you've had in other games and in the same game previously. Why not add on top of it, as opposed to take everything away again and then say you can't do this until X time for no real reason? These
are different folks, man. They
but yeah, it just annoyed me.
I get you.
But I mean, other than that, I also popped in The Witcher 3 after the Netflix series wrapped up, because I just wanted to see how close the game was to kind of how it was portrayed in the TV show. And honestly, yeah, they're pretty spot on with the way, like the narrative, like the feel, the look, like it's all really, really close. And the couple of missions that I did were actually very interesting. The very beginning of the game really didn't get very far at all, but I was already interested and invested, maybe because I knew a little bit more about the characters coming off of the show, but I do think that game is interesting in terms of like moment-to-moment gameplay as well. I haven't really clicked in with the combat in that game yet. Like so far, I don't feel like it's very good, but I might just need to get deeper into it to get more used to it.
You gotta put some. You gotta use some of those points inside your abilities.
Right. Yeah. Like just
it alters each ability depending on the points you put in, and then you have to assign those upgrade abilities to your slots.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be interested to see you do stream that actually after your Sekiro, just to see your take on somebody who hasn't played the series before.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of see your take on it as opposed to mine, somebody who's like
been like deep in it for a hot minute.
Yeah.
But speaking of Sekiro, I picked that back up for stream, and man, Sekiro is punishing in multiple ways. Because I did not run into a boss during that stream, but I did not have any idea where I needed to go. So I spent the majority of the time just refamiliarizing myself with just the combat mechanics and like the traversal and stuff. I was talking to characters who were kind of giving me hints like, hey, head over to this area. I would go to that area and just be lost. Like, okay, I've never been here before. I'm sure I've never been here before. Yet there's nowhere I can go other than just right here where I've been. So that was frustrating. I did go and look up a guide and then found out that I was in the right area. There was just like a certain section that I missed. Like rather than going up a certain thing, I was supposed to go down a certain thing. And then I would have ended up exactly where they were telling me to go to. So I will get back on track. Like I feel like in terms of like controls wise, I feel like I'm back in it. I just want to face up against a boss to really just re-hone my skills because the last fight I did was that dude Genichiro, like the sword and bow user, and man,
he looked super cool.
First of all, that boss fight is fantastic. Probably the best boss fight I've played in a game since Bloodborne. That's probably my favorite From Software game, period. And he really does kind of test you as to whether or not you're going to finish Sekiro. Because I would not be surprised if people reached Genichiro and was like, yo, I can't do this anymore. Because they force you to play that game the way they want you to play that game. You can't, I mean, there's probably a way to cheese him, but unless you look it up, I'm not really going to be the one to find that out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you have to learn his moves. You have to parry with perfect timing, and you have to attack when you can't be counterattacked. And when you do attack him, he's probably going to counterattack you at some point, and you have to have the reflexes to stop that when that happens. So if you don't do that perfectly, and then you have to do it perfectly, and then have enough life to then learn his second phase of the fight. And you really can't beat that phase unless you do the brand new move that they teach you right before you enter that fight, which is to parry lightning. So
parry lightning?
Lightning. Like, the man hits you with a bolt of lightning, you have to parry that and then throw it back at him. And, like, without doing that at least one or two times, you're not going to finish the second phase. Right.
Oh my God.
But with a sword.
Okay, so there's like a Sekiro for Dummies book because I've never played the game. But with everything that you just explained, I was going to ask you what you thought the most unforgiving part was. I think you just answered my question.
Yeah, it's probably that fight. Yeah, they really.
So it's worse than the bull was.
Yeah, by far. Because you saw how I struggled with the bull. Like, with the bull, you just need to learn. Because the bull didn't have that many different attacks. You just had to learn how to fend them off.
Dodge the ones that he did have.
Yeah. And the thing is, you can't dodge with him. That was the problem. Like, with the bull and with a lot of other scenarios, you have to learn the attacks. You have to parry them. Like, you can't run away. Like, it won't get you anywhere.
Yeah.
But like the Madam Butterfly boss before that, who was also quite difficult, you could kind of get away with spamming attacks on her because she'll wear down, and like she has like maybe one counter to like you spamming attacks to her that you can then get used to. But Genichiro, like, he does not cut any corners. Like, you have to learn to fight him the way it seems the game designed the fight, like, just completely.
I think the way you're describing Genichiro is similar to I know Jeff has played this, and I know a lot of our viewers have, but the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Malicos, the Sith that you encounter on Dathomir, he's the same kind of way. He's kind of like the gatekeeper.
Right.
Once you get to him, you decide whether you're gonna finish this game or not. because this dude does not play around. The same kind of deal. If you're countering him, you have to be ready for him to have something for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And don't get greedy with them hits, man. Like, once you get like one or two, just back off. Take your time.
Right. You
breathe.
got to be patient. You got to
Yeah.
follow the
I will
flow.
say they're very similar. I've played some Second Round, I've played some Fallen Order. They're very similar when it comes to the parrying and the different type of how advanced the AI is on a lot of the enemies. Like, they're not just, you know. I will say Sekiro has the smartest enemies compared to most of the Souls related games.
Yeah,
They're
I would
like
definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Like you honestly feel like, oh, I did this thing and it started to work, and now they're on to me.
Yeah.
So like this thing doesn't work anymore. Like you need to change up and like surprise the enemy, like you would in like a real fight. Like that game is fantastic. I'm gonna complete it. Like if I didn't really make any New Year's resolutions, but consider that a New Year's resolution. I'm gonna finish Sekiro. But that's pretty much all I've been playing. What about you, Blue?
So yeah, just like the guys said, Borderlands 3, I'm loving it. I'm in love with my character Flack. I think he is the coolest Borderlands character in general. And I
Beastie Boys.
Hashtag Beastie Boys. You know what I mean? That's what me and Jeff both play the Beastmaster, excuse me. Yeah, I'm loving that game. All the side missions were great. It's been a very long time since I've wanted to do side missions in a video game, and Borderlands. I think the side missions are probably just slightly more interesting than the main story, in my opinion. Like, there's so many parodies, there's so many like deeper stories to the main story that you find in all that stuff. I mean, things that are just hitting me left. What's his name? Johnny. Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, I did that side mission with Jeff, and yeah, that one was actually very hilarious.
That was funny.
That was hilarious, and it was. I would be surprised if it wasn't his voice in there. It sounded exactly like him.
No, because Tommy Wiseau cannot act. That's the whole. That's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing. Like,
so I doubt that was him.
If he's reading the script,
you're tearing me apart.
Oh, hi, Mark. Yeah, my goodness. We can talk about that movie another time. But yeah, it was just great. You know, we saw Rick and Morty in there. I saw oh my gosh, I didn't get to see the Rackman one, which is supposed to be the Batman.
Oh, I'll
parody.
take you to see that one.
Yeah, we'll go check that out.
Right before this, what's that? What's the name? 9000.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Agonizer, yeah. So yeah, Borderlands 3, I've been loving it. My girlfriend is probably tired of seeing me play it all the time, but
tell me a story about yesterday.
Yesterday with wait, you talking about the slaughterhouse? Oh yeah, so yesterday Miss Merrick and I were getting ready. We had just had our morning quality time. We were playing Magic the Gathering, and we were watching something on TV, and we had our little breakfast. We had cereal and everything, so we playing, da-da-da. She kicked my butt. We did a best out of 3 twice in a row. It wasn't even really a game. And then we had planned to run some errands, right? So we just got up. We're about to get ready to run some errands, and Jeff texts me. He's like, Borderlands 3? And I looked at my phone, and I looked at my girl. And she looked at me and she's like, oh my gosh. I was like, just 1 hour? She's like, 1 hour. I was like, let's go. Just jumped all out real quick. Man. But first of all, I'm grateful for her
big shit out to Miss Merritt.
For allowing you
for allowing
the time
me to happily game with my boys, you know what I mean? And yeah, big shout out to her.
That's what you need, that support.
Yeah. That gamer love, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's not just me gaming in the house. She be playing Magic on my computer if she's not playing against me physically, and then she plays Overwatch like crazy, and some other games we've been dabbling into. But so I love her and I appreciate her. I've also been playing. So Game Pass is amazing. Once again,
this is true.
Another game that I would never pay money for that I'm actually enjoying is Sword Art Online.
I saw that hit Game Pass. I actually downloaded it.
I downloaded that.
Yeah, I haven't started it yet.
With it yet.
It's better than I expected.
Yeah, I was looking
It's
at
better than
I was looking at some of the user reviews, and people are kind of saying that exact thing, like, "Oh, it's actually pretty good. I just wish it did this."
Yeah, exactly. Like I wish the customization was a little bit deeper for the character. Like my dark skinned character looks maybe a little lighter than Jeff. Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah. So the customizations I'm not too happy with, but the storyline obviously, is gonna be man shonen, but it's really cool the way that they've incorporated the anime. Like the character models look really good. The animation looks great. The guns look super cool. And I'm kind of liking the movement style and the customization that
So is
they're.
this an RPG?
It's a RPG, and you can play it co-op. There are co-op missions. I'm not exactly sure how far that goes in because I was just playing solo. But they got a huge open world that you create your team out of some of the existing members. This AI that you get that's a support character and your character, and you can really tweak your team and your gear and everything like that. I'm still getting into it, but it's kind of a lot that they throw at you from the get-go. So if you're planning on getting into that game, get ready for a lot of cutscenes, and a lot of talking. But once you get out into the open world, you're like, okay, this action's not as bad as some of the dialogue.
Yeah, I'm
But
more
yeah.
interested in how the gun play mechanics feel. And do they let you get that little saber sword that Kirito uses? Like, can you fake the funk and just be a sword wielder in a gun game?
So I don't have enough credits yet, but when I looked at the store, they did have a sword weapon.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if I can wield it or not, or have to equip it to somebody else, or what the deal is. But maybe I'll stream it this week, and you guys will get to see. So
Okay.
yeah, that's basically what I've been playing. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So,
hmm
thanks everyone for letting us know what you've been gaming on. We're gonna move real quick into Blues news for our Super Smash Sunday
Yeah.
recap. We actually started last week with that, even though there was no podcast. But Blue, what you got?
Blues news. So last week on Super Smash Sunday, we had a great turnout for our first stream of the year. We had a player by the name of Smash Guy. We've seen him before. He was killing it with Terry this week. He kind of ran the table for a while, then jumped out of line. Now normally we don't do that, but it happened. And then Jeff took over with a nice win streak with Zelda. Now, Smash Guy did come back, and then it looked like he DC'd or he just left. But after that, Jeff took the cake again with Zelda. He was really running that table. We had a couple other wins, but the most consecutive wins was Jeff and Smash Guy this week. Now, one of the biggest things about this week in particular is the unknown, the evil hand of lag was really messing up a lot of folks. And
Yeah, I
we
think
saw it.
some of Smash Guy's wins had asterisks on them.
A lot of people were saying that. Not saying that Smash Guy is not talented by any means.
Yeah, he
but
was
lag
good. That's why
definitely helping out Terry.
Right. That's why the
Yeah.
lag was so annoying because it's like,
Devastating.
yeah, this guy's like whooping my behind. I know that I can beat him maybe, but like how would I know because half my button inputs aren't being registered.
Yeah. So unfortunately, there was a lot of lag this week, but we still got to give credit where credit's due.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff and Smash Guy killed it this week. That is the Super Smash Brothers review of the week.
Thank you, Blue. We're gonna move now
problem.
into our topics. We're gonna start with movie stuff. Have you guys heard about this? Warner Bros. Apparently are going to start using an AI called Cinelytic to start deciding which movies to greenlight for. Well, rather than greenlight, they're going to decide which movies audiences are most likely to go see.
Yeah.
So
They just
final
gave up on
approval,
people.
final approval will still be handled by a human, but they're going to get the majority of the suggestions from a computer algorithm.
So if you're a marketing person looking for a low-level job in Warner Brothers, don't do it.
Right. There's like they're kind of phasing you guys out, it seems.
I think
Automatic
that pretty much
checkout
shows
here.
how desperate we are because they've touched each end of the bar. So they've had really great success with Joker
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
and not great success with Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, that was terrible.
So I think it's showing how desperate they are. That nobody knows what we're doing. We can't decide on a path to kind of get them where they're supposed to be. I think I read the article said that they knew they were going to lose a bunch of money on Dawn of Justice. They knew Justice League wasn't going to do as good as they wanted them to do. That it wasn't at the level where they wanted it to be compared to the Marvel movies, but they went along with it anyway.
Released it anyway, right?
Yes. So I feel like that's what hindered it. Also, there were 2 directors, and Jack Snyder, and then who ended up with it?
I can't remember.
I'm sorry. Remember, but we had 2 separate.
I got
directors.
Google though.
And that also affects the whole process, because what that first director's vision was compared to what that second one's was, it looked like there were 2 separate things going on in that entire movie. I think instead of leaving it up to AI, they need a group of people. They need a panel to kind of help decide where they should be taking this. People who have insight into the lore, and also some people who don't, to kind of even it out, to help decide if these movies are going to appeal to not only fans but also anybody, kind of like the Marvel movies do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be a fan of Iron Man to go see Avengers or anything like that. They immerse you in that. You don't have to have any prior knowledge before seeing these movies, besides maybe seeing the last couple movies. So I just think the AI situation kind of shows how desperate they are.
Just a little fact check on the Batman v Superman. Zack Snyder directed it. It was produced by 2 other folks, Charles Roven and Deborah Snyder. So it looks like they kind of kept a small circle on that.
But Justice League, because remember they kept
the Justice
Snyder
League.
cut.
Yeah.
What? So I took a look at this, and considering the fact that my job is in IT, whenever I see something where it seems as if there's some sort of automation or artificial intelligence taking over what a human would normally do, the first thing that I typically think of is, okay, so just as you mentioned, so marketing people no longer need to do this because now we have AI that can just simply crunch the numbers. And a line that kind of worried me in here is the system can calculate in seconds what used to take days to assess by a human. And in the world of IT, that's really the most important thing. A human cannot crunch data faster than a computer can. A human can be swayed by emotions and things like that. And for movies, you want that. Like, I want a human to tell me if this is going to really have an emotional impact. But on the business side of things, I want results, and I want results now. Give me the quickest result you can, and then we'll just keep going on from there, because I can use 50, 60 years of data to make a very good educated guess about what the next popular movie would be. People have done similar things with fantasy sports, where they have whole Excel sheets that break things down like that. So when I look at this, but it wants to touch something personal as movies, it just, I grow concerned, because at that point, if it's going to be an AI that gives, let's just say 70% of it, and then the last 30% has to be by a human, well, are we going to have AI generated reviews? And I'm being serious, because again, the thing is, a computer can crunch that out a whole lot faster based off of whatever parameters that you set for it. And another thing is, an AI cannot be swayed by a political stance or any other phobias. You can literally program those out where those just don't exist. But human beings still kind of have those things back in the back of their head whenever they're talking or doing about something like that. So and kind of last thing, if it can be man-made, it can be man-broken.
Facts.
That Twitter chat bot, was it Microsoft that made that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm gonna find that too.
Right, like that was a unfortunate mistake, because it was just released off into the internet, and then the internet does what the internet does.
It just went ham.
Yeah. So yeah, when it comes to movies like that, I mean, obviously I would really trust, like, Blue or Jeff or KC to say, like, okay, hey, this was good, this was bad, versus, someone saying like, oh yeah, by the way, this, this review was generated by, review bot, 96K, and you should feel like, no,
Now, like, so Gamer, you mentioned a couple things. One of the things you mentioned was speed, right? And it's funny because I just had a meeting with one of my producers on this other project I'm working on, and one of the things he said was, you can only have things 2 out of 3 ways, right? They can either be good, fast, or cheap.
Yep.
You can't have all 3. You can only have 2, right? So that being said, right, I think that, this this new AI that Warner Brothers is using is going to be good and fast. Now, my question is, how much is the bill for Cineletic to make this happen? How much is it really going to cost them to make these AI-informed decisions? Is that going to, pull up the deficit that they've been losing from some of their bad movies?
I wonder.
And that's the thing, is like, you're basically saying that nobody can figure out what a good movie is. And I think it goes back to the writing. The writing is where these movies went wrong. Wasn't the acting, wasn't really the special effects, even though Steppenwolf didn't look that great. That was overlooked. The writing is what's causing these movies not to succeed. We've seen great writing. We've seen Wonder Woman. Some people like Aquaman. I thought it was okay. But,
it was fine.
I liked it better than I thought I would. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the second half of that movie is better than the first half, but it was okay.
When they weren't writing, it kind of dragged a little bit. But to me, the writing is where this starts. If you fix the writing before anybody even has to decide if this movie should come out, that's where the issue lies. Not deciding if we should, let this bad movie go. We need to make sure that the scripts are on where they should be.
Keeping that in mind, what I'm wondering is, at what point in the movie making stage does Cinelytics make this decision? Like, is it before, like, is it during the pitch? They're like, oh, this is a movie that's going to be about this thing, using this license, blah, 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 and it says, okay, let me search the internet, let me search database, let me search history. The chances are people are going to like that. And then it gets written and then produced and blah, 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 blah. Or is it like someone makes a whole movie and then Cinelytics watches the movie or something, and then it goes, you know what, this is a hit, or you know what, this is really bad, so they just never release it. Like, at what point do these factors from an AI machine come into the decision making before a thing gets made? Because just like Jeff was saying, like, at any point in that process, you could probably run into mistakes. Like, the computer's not doing the writing, the computer's not doing the editing or the videography or whatever. Like, you can have an idea of saying, like, yo, this movie would be amazing, and then someone makes a bad version of that amazing idea, like Avatar: The Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh man! So
I can't imagine that there's a world where this thing makes Warner Brothers' job any easier. Like maybe it'll get lucky, like it'll say, oh, you guys should go with this. They go with that, and it's a big hit, and so they're completely convinced that this thing is the way to go, and then they use it for like 30 other things, and like maybe 15 of them are good, and the other 15 are terrible. Like, who knows? Like, I don't get why they would want to trust something that's built off of such creativity. Like, it's an art form. Like,
I think it goes back to what
machine.
Jeff said. Mm-hmm. I think it goes back to what Jeff said at the beginning. They're grasping at straws at this point. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it seems like they really are desperate. They don't know what else to do.
We can get.
Everything is a crapshoot. But like, hasn't that been the movie industry like from the beginning?
The movie industry, I think more Warner Brothers than some of these other studios.
I think they were playing catch up. I think instead of making these fleshed out characters and kind of getting you involved with them, they wanted to rush to a certain step.
Right. They saw what Marvel they saw what Marvel was doing, and they rushed to copy, and kind of you could tell that it was a rush job, and like no one responded well to that.
No. Because if you think about it, no offense to Marvel, but when you think about the Justice League and Batman versus Superman, those are the apex of superheroes, where there's nobody who doesn't know who Batman is, nobody who doesn't know who Superman is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They go way further back than the Avengers. They are cemented into comic book history. So when you make a movie for those guys, as long as it's a solid movie, it's going to do great. But what happens is you get a bunch of people seeing it, if it's not good, those reviews come out, people start talking about it, and then it's that first week would have been sold out. The next weekend, no,
Nothing.
and I think they need to take their time, create a story that's woven into the mythology, but not based on, one particular storyline, and kind of get people involved in it, not just try to jump out. Because right now, I think we got Wonder Woman coming out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That actually looks good. That trailer.
Was it 1989 or something like that? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
There's been talk about a new Superman movie. I think but it hasn't been confirmed. I think with the success of The Witcher, I think that might help boost some of that Henry Cavill. Because I felt bad for the guy. People were pooping on the Superman movies where he actually did a good job.
Yeah, I think he's a good Superman, but yeah.
Yes. I just think the writing
his movie was not great.
There. And you have some critics like KC who just
Man of Steel
Why they go back for
sucks.
Man of Steel was terrible. The best part of Man of Steel is when Superman got his cape yoked up in the middle of that shit. And he's like, boom, sit yourself down. Like when he got a reality check, that was the best part of that movie.
You're biased too.
I'm not biased. I'm just saying I wouldn't run into a tornado and kill myself for a dog.
For a dog. When my super son, I would also wouldn't tell my super son to let a school bus full of his classmates drown in front of his face. I would never say that to him.
What about Kizzy?
Kizzy, yeah, it's a cat.
Kizzy's trying to be on the podcast. I saw her earlier.
Yeah, she's scratching my arm or whatever.
But yeah, that's all I got for that. Hopefully they figure out what's going on, because I do essentially like those characters and would like to see them represented a lot better on the big screen.
There's no reason why they shouldn't have been. But the thing is, I don't see how an AI can somehow confirm that me or you will go and pay money to see a bad movie. Like,
let's see how it works. I'm excited to see how it works. Like, honestly, if this AI can make me a DC fan, that is phenomenal.
But how would the AI be the one to credit for that? That's what I'm saying. Like,
is it going to go off of?
What you got, gamer?
I think that there needs to be just a little bit more specification. The AI will not be able to let you know that a movie is good. The AI will only be able to say that there's a probability that people like Blue, people like Casey, people like Jeff, they have in the past done these sorts of things, and because of this, we can say that they would do this.
Instant market research.
That's the closest that they are ever going to get. And going back to the article, it was saying probability based off of brand and talent and things like that. Yeah. So if you have, the probability might shift from 65% to 80% because instead of having Seth Rogen play that character, we're going to get Jim Carrey or something like that. And based off of just how people's Twitters are doing versus whoever being canceled, that would do better this time. Like, everyone's going to be generalized to a box. So unfortunately, the AI will never get those nuances of, let's just say, for example, KC, Man of Steel, did not like that at all. But the algorithm says that people like KC have liked movies like The Man of Steel. So we think that they might really like this. They really might like this one. You know, it will never get those nuances, unfortunately.
And you just, my bad. You just brought up a really good point. The fact that it recommends actors and actresses for roles as well. Yeah. Like, it's basing that off popularity. One thing that Marvel has been very consistent with is their casting of kind of lesser known, unrecognized people to kind of fill up the roles of these larger than life characters. And like, they've done really, really well.
They're killing it.
So if the AI is looking at,
star power,
right? Like, what's to stop it from saying cast Kim Kardashian in this movie? Because what?
I think that someone has to read that printout and be like, no, that's not it.
Like, this was a mistake.
I think this will be a good segue into the teaser of the new Batman game.
Ooh, yeah.
Right.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, our next topic apparently. Is sticking with Warner Brothers. Their Montreal game studio sent out some cryptic images. Like, it was like cut in half diagonally, in one tweet, and then you got the other half in another tweet. So some people on the internet put it together, and you could see it was kind of like a seal, and
Coat of arms.
And it was I don't have the thing up right now.
The League of Shadows.
That's a League of Shadows coat of arms.
Yeah,
that what that is?
The Gotham symbol.
The Gotham PD.
Town. Yeah, no, for the town.
Oh, just for
the
like the city seal.
Kind of like like a city has their own like flag and stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
And it had in Latin, capture the night.
Yep.
Mm.
So everyone is basically saying like, oh, that's the Court of Owls storyline that we've been hearing they're working on for however many years now. No other information was dropped, just that image with that caption.
Which would make sense because they haven't done the Court of Owls in the Batman games. There's been some Easter eggs, but they haven't done. Anybody who's not familiar with the Court of Owls, it's a group who's been in Gotham pulling the strings all this time.
Kind of like a city level Illuminati.
Yes, they raise children to be these assassins called Talons. A good reference would be, was it Batman? The animated movie would have been
Batman versus Robin.
Batman versus Robin.
Yeah.
Yes.
They kind of dip into it a little bit.
Gotham had a interesting representation of them too. I don't know how accurate it was, and I'm talking about the TV show on Netflix.
Yeah.
My girl and I are kind of pushing our way through that because it's got highs and lows. But the Court of Owls was an interesting organization that you kind of got to see the ins and outs of throughout it, and even Jim Gordon was a part of it for a little bit, trying to get some inside information. So. Yeah, I think if they did follow the Court of Owls, it'd be a pretty cool storyline, trying to see who's on your side and who's not. But kind of going back to the emblems that you brought up, I just noticed the demon head, and that is a alias for Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, they showed the League of Shadows symbol. Yeah, and then there's some other spots for some other symbols.
Yeah,
so I'm wondering when they're going to start releasing those to kind of.
They got some of them up, I think.
Now, I've never seen an instance where the League is crossed with the Court of Owls, so that's going to be very interesting.
It's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. I like the way that they're rolling it out. I love mystery, and I love,
puzzles.
Little puzzles and stuff like that.
Did I get you?
Just a little bit. Having to figure something out. I think that's why I'm still addicted to Overwatch, because all their releases are little story drops here and there and illusions. Yeah.
So, I mean, are you guys excited for another Batman game? I think a lot of people weren't super hot on, what was it? Arkham Knight. No, Arkham Knight. Yeah, the most recent one.
I do not play Arkham
Especially one that's not coming from Rocksteady, because this is WB Montreal. Rocksteady's working on something else that still hasn't been revealed yet.
So hopefully they kept some of those existing things that went on in because I think the last one I played before Arkham Knight was at Arkham City.
Yes.
Yeah, I keep mixing them up.
So I didn't play Arkham Knight, so I am interested in seeing how this unfolds. I did want to see them take a different, because there was a tease of a Superman game some time ago. So I was hoping.
Yeah, there was like talk about it. I don't think anything was ever confirmed.
Concrete, no.
Yeah,
but I was hoping to see something, a good game. A good Superman game. I think there was one a long time ago that was
a good one.
Bad.
Oh, the bad one. Okay, yeah, Superman 64.
Yeah,
yeah, probably one of the worst games ever made. Some people would say.
I'm gonna take it one step further, and saying that Superman is one of the worst characters.
No, you're incorrect.
Not
so
you, Jeff. Just in general.
No,
I'm gonna have to give that one to Blue because he's boring.
What got everything? Come on, Jeff, talk to me. What you got?
For people who aren't from, so you might have some instance of the lore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's comics I could spit off that you haven't read that humanize him or that give you a different take. You're just used to the same Superman. Oh, he's all powerful, this and that. When that's not really the essence of the character.
What is what? Comics, we'll do this tangent. What is the essence of Superman?
Oh God. Okay. So if you read this, was it Superman Action Comics where he actually got depowered? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He lost his powers pretty much. He only had some super strength, and his secret identity got outed.
Okay.
All right.
So now he's forced. everybody knows he's Clark Kent. All right, so he's living this life. He's not Superman anymore. He's just running around in a t-shirt and some jeans.
I think I've seen some of this.
Yes, he's deep.
Is he still going to work?
I think he kind of took a hiatus.
Yeah, I think he was like traveling the country or something, right? He was kind of just drifting.
And you got all these big bads coming to see him now because they know who he is. They, you know, so he's dealing with his vulnerability, not being able to do everything he could do before. All right.
Okay.
And it humanizes him. He bleeds now. You see him in these vulnerable states where you might not have seen him before.
I think that is a interesting version of Superman.
Yes. Now there's also the version where he had a son. That's actually a bit newer, where you deal with, I think you can't. They named him after his dad. Where you deal with him raising his son alongside, actually, they do like a Super Sons.
Oh, I've actually read or had read to me via YouTube some of that too. That Damien and
yes,
the Damien
comic
right.
Shout out to him on YouTube. He does a lot of good videos and covers a lot of the comics. So it deals with Superman issues, but not from Superman. It deals with it from a kid who's born on Earth, who is told about his heritage, who has these powers, who are dealing with kid things as well. You know, his cat dies, and they have to explain to him that type of stuff. So
he doesn't fly backwards around the planet to then bring his cat back to life.
No,
you know he could.
So there's certain comics you can go. I'm not a big Batman fan, but I love the whole Dark Knight Metal. It's amazing series.
Okay.
That opened me up to the character a little bit more as well. So there's different stories to base the character off of. The iteration you might be basing that you hate on Superman for, there's other
but that is Superman,
it's
like
the popular one.
Because you're talking about the humanized version, where essentially a lot of the things that make him Superman he doesn't have anymore, which is like 90% of other comic book characters.
There's even stuff where he doesn't get depowered, where the story's about he finds out Doomsday Clock. Okay, we find out that his dad didn't die on Krypton, that Dr. Manhattan plucked him off at that particular time, and has been.
I forgot that Watchmen is involved in this.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to check on what that story actually was, but I'm split on this because I agree Superman is a boring character because of how powerful he is and how he's very rarely under any threat, and when he is under threat, it's like a fake threat, like I was in a super coma and I just healed or whatever. I don't die, I'm Superman. But I do think because you have a character that powerful, he gets super interesting when you look at it from the angle of this is a god trying to live among men. Like, that is super interesting. And they tried to touch on that a little bit in, like, the Batman versus Superman story, like the movie. Like, Lex Luthor, played by Jesse Eisenberg, wasn't great, but his mindset, I thought, was the right track for a Lex Luthor villain in that world, because he was basically trying to tell everyone, like, yo, this is a god among us, and we should be wary of that. Like, y'all aren't scared of the fact that, like that made sense. But, in general, I think they do just kind of play him as a power fantasy character. And it's like, when you have all the powers and, like, all your enemies are just way weaker than you, like, that's not compelling to me.
Yeah. And like I said, that's not all stories. So you gotta, and that's not even the one that was represented in Man of Steel. That's not even the current.
Yeah, that was bad for whole other reasons.
Even Reeves. I mean, he dealt with the other Kryptonians that showed up. He got depowered a few times. He fought that Sun Baby, whatever that
Sun
was.
Baby.
Him. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know what you're talking about.
I would challenge you guys to explore some of the comics, and I actually have it on DC Universe. There's a bunch of comics
there's a bunch of stuff on that DC
so if you guys want that, I'll give you that info. You can go ahead and kind of immerse yourself in some of the lore instead of just being prejudiced.
We're anti-Kryptonian.
Ooh, that was a heavy word.
So we're gonna jump off the DC train and head back into video game land. Respawn's CEO, Vince Zampella, I believe. Apparently, he's been tasked with taking over one of EA's other studios, DICE LA. So they're going to rebrand it. It's going to get a new name. He's going to be the boss of that development house, and they're going to start pumping out something. Apparently, Respawn is in the good graces of EA, which has not been doing great as of late. Respawn is kind of their only shining light out of their studios catalogs, and now they're giving Vince Zampella more control over their studios. What do you guys take on this?
I think coming off the heels of Apex and coming off the heels of Jedi Fallen Order, I think they're on a high right now. I think they need to keep that running, and whatever magic they use to create those, I think they need to kind of let them go.
Keep it going.
If you're not familiar, like a lot of there's been a few canceled Star Wars games.
Yes,
more than a few, actually.
Yeah. There's a whole video of it. If you go to Watch Mojo, it's called top 10 canceled Star Wars games, and there's a few of them.
Dang.
So
it said that there's a top 10.
Right.
There's like some bad unreleased Star Wars games. Like that's bad specific. You know what I mean?
And there's some that looked good, but there seemed like there's been a lot of trouble during the whole production phase where there was a whole story about same thing happened during Battlefront 2.
Are you talking about like
during the development? There was a lot of trouble during development that led to these bad decisions, like the microtransactions.
Like that had to have come from like above the actual studio,
kind of corporate.
Yeah, like a mandate. Yeah, because I don't know when this ends. I think it ends soon, but like for like the past. Like, EA signed a 10-year deal with the Star Wars license. So EA could use any of its studios to make Star Wars games for 10 years. And they've only come out so far with 3? It was Star Wars Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and then...
Fallen Order.
Excuse me. Fallen Order. Sorry.
And then Battlefront, there's been a couple years between Force Unleashed 2 came out. In between Battlefront,
but I don't think that was an EA game.
Oh,
like that, that was before that deal.
Before they acquired the license, okay.
Right? So, yeah, EA has only been responsible for I think 3 in that entire time period, and they've had a lot more than that in the pipe, and then canceled them before they ever saw the light of day.
Now, don't they have something in their clause where they have to get some type of approval from Lucasfilms?
Probably. I think that might be in general. Like they just can't do whatever they want with characters and stories. Like anything they pitch probably has to be approved from Disney now.
Jedi Fallen Order is in fact supposed to be canon.
Yes.
Yeah, everything that gets released in Star Wars is canon now, I think, right? No matter where it is.
Yeah.
So
we're really excited about that.
So I mean,
that leads to more, not only Star Wars games, but higher quality games coming from EA, because, like you said, there's been the last few, whether that was Battlefront 2 or not, it just hasn't been hitting. So hopefully that leads to some higher quality games and some less influence from the big wigs up top to kind of cash in on those microtransactions and whatnot.
Like, what does EA even have in their catalog right now in terms of games that they own? Like, you see, just everyone is kind of searching their minds.
Well, you mean just in general?
Yeah, like what are big EA games today?
The Sims.
Yeah. There you go. Yep, that's one.
Jedi Fallen Order. You got your FIFA. You got your Apex.
Well, let's ignore Respawn because they're the ones. They are the only shining gem in EA's crown. But then you have The Sims. You have FIFA, Madden, like the EA Sports 2K. Stuff.
Live.
No, Live is not. Live is not one of EA's better games. 2K. Yeah, but that's 2K. That's Take-Two Interactive.
Yeah, Need for Speed.
And yeah, they just released a game last year, and it was not good. I mean, it was like received okay,
but the Miami one, right?
Yeah, Need for Speed Heat. That hasn't been doing well.
Kind of like was it like action racer?
Yeah, well, this is my point. This is my point. Like, you're struggling to find anything outside of Respawn that's doing well for EA.
I was just about to say Titanfall, and then I just realized that
it's Respawn.
Yeah, that's Respawn.
So it makes a lot of sense. Universe. A lot of sense for them to give more powers to Respawn CEO. I'm interested to see how that shakes things up. Like, this is just the very beginning. You probably won't hear any kind of announcement about what comes out of this for some time because they'll need to actually make something up, like start working on something. But I don't know, what else can they do? Like, they literally have, like, Dragon Age, I think, is on the horizon, right? Like, that's another big project coming from BioWare, which has had the last 2 of its games flop. Anthem is supposed to be getting an entire rework. So we don't know what's going to become of that, whether that'll succeed or not by the time this rework comes out.
I'm sorry.
Hear hints of
you said something that was like foreign to my mind. What is Anthem? I thought you said. Did you mean failure? Did you mean
it's so
waste
sad.
of time? Like
that game had such an amazing premise.
It was like someone told you, congratulations, we're going to be giving you a huge cake. It looks amazing. It smells delicious. And then you cut into it and it's styrofoam peanuts. There was
I thought you was going to say vegan.
Which one is worse?
There was no substance to it,
man.
At all.
Like I bite my teeth into it, and it's like, well, where's the rest?
Empty calories.
And supposedly, they are trying to revamp it. They said they're going to do a whole game rework. This has happened for other games in the past. Yeah, you've seen No Man's Sky get revamped. Final Fantasy 14 got revamped.
Okay, chill. Final Fantasy 14 has never failed in its
the original Final Fantasy 14 is not the same game that you're playing right now.
I know. I understand they got a rework. I'm
not
saying
they had to rename the game. They called it A Realm Reborn. Remember that?
Look, like I said, its expansions have never failed it, and it's always.
Those expansions have nothing to do with the fact that the game, when it released, needed to be reworked. So that's what I'm getting at here. Okay. So there are precedents for this happening and being successful. So I'm hopeful that Anthem can turn this around because, just like everybody else, I was super hyped for Anthem to be everything it was supposed to be, and it just wasn't.
I guess the biggest difference I'm trying to illustrate when I'm defending Final Fantasy 14, right, is that this is the thing, right? No Man's Sky got a rework. How many people are going back to No Man's Sky? You have some people going back, right?
Yeah.
But it's not an active game. It's not a successful game.
I wouldn't say that. I think there are.
Yeah,
they have a decent community.
It's gotten a lot successful. That's been
because they also
videos on them.
When it got reworked, they also released it on Xbox because it was PlayStation exclusive before it got its rework, and then that pretty much boosted its player base as well. I don't know if it's on PC though.
This is
all I'm saying is
after your whole tangent about Superman and
he's so really ready to talk crap about Final Fantasy 14. He only played it for like 2 hours.
I enjoyed the game. I was level 48 before I stopped playing. I don't have anything bad to say about the game. It's just good to see you sweat and have
like no one said Final Fantasy 14 is bad now. Like that's the point. Like, it was reworked and it became
right.
Good. Yeah, because it was a train wreck before.
I don't feel like Anthem's going to make the comeback that Final Fantasy 14 did. And to a lesser degree, I don't even know if it's going to make the comeback that No Man's Sky did, if that's going to come back.
Well, here's the thing. Games that didn't have to make comeback. Let's see Division 2. It started out good.
Oh, man.
Where is it now?
Yeah, it's kind of just in the background. It sold really well, but yeah, people I think stopped playing it.
It was such a good start. But once you read the end game, is like, okay, so now what? And the raids were impossible to put together.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. I think one of the biggest things from all this is, going to like Anthem, going to Division, going into Sky. There was an initial huge boom of this is amazing, and then the game's going to have to get a rework. You're not going to go back and get the people that you had already burned. So your hope is that you're going to hopefully be getting a whole lot of new people from this. From this new particular thing, because everyone before remembers all the crap that you did, like for example, with the rework of Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, where the game came out and then it was amazing, but then later down the line, for some strange reason, it was updated with microtransactions for some really odd reason.
Wow.
But then
Activision game, right? Okay.
Yeah, but then that wasn't on any, but that wasn't on any packaging or anything like that. That said that there was in-game purchase. There was a later addition, and I don't want to get into a Jeff style tangent. I feel like I might, but I don't want to.
Segment.
But I will say this: It's interesting how the game that you see now will never be the game that you read during the review cycle. For example, No Man's Sky, they had a huge patch, and then the game is significantly different.
Yeah.
To be able to, so are you ever going to be looking at the final version? And I mean, dare I say it, and I don't want to, vomit on screen, but Fallout 76.
Oof.
Like, that game is still getting reworked, and by reworked, I mean new broken content is consistently being
that's
added.
the thing. I don't feel like they ever fully acknowledged how bad the game is. Like, they never came out and said, we're gonna change what this game is. They just keep adding stuff to it, you know?
That's it.
But, like, at the very least, EA is saying here, look, we're going to change this. From the ground up, we're going to rework what this game is. So I'm super interested just to see what that turns out to be. Whether it actually succeeds or not, of course, it's still up in the air. I'm very interested in that process, because we have seen it work before.
A XCOM type stormtrooper before the stormtroopers, like the Clone Wars type XCOM game.
That's basically
Wait, you mean turning Anthem into that?
No, I'm talking
no,
about
it's
Star
Star Wars
I just
game.
mean
Okay.
if they work on something.
Oh man, it's an old Star Wars game that was a top-down RTS. It was called something about the galaxy. Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, you look that up.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about... we're going to move on to new Pokemon news. Apparently, Sword and Shield just got an expansion DLC.
Yeah.
Real quick before you talk about that, it's called Empire at War, and it was actually pretty good. You should check it out. It's really old though, so just heads up on that.
Empire
All right.
at War.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's talk about this.
So, new Pokemon content. Unlike previous Pokemon generations, they're not going to do the thing where they release a brand new third game that has, slightly new content and more Pokemon or whatever they usually do, because I have not been playing Pokemon for the last 15 years or whatever. But instead, they're doing DLC, which is the norm for today's world, so Nintendo has finally caught up in some ways in that regard.
Hold on.
Okay.
The Octopath expansion for Splatoon 2.
Right, okay.
Ooh,
Yeah, they added...
okay.
That was a multiplayer-only game, and they added, like, a story mode to that, right?
No, it was an additional story mode. Okay, so small. So it was Octolings versus Inklings. You play as an Inkling. The Octopath expansion had you play as an Octoling that was awakened with a brand new campaign with additions to the multiplayer.
Oh, it's like the Octoling of Time.
Sort of. Well, no, but then even before the Octopath expansion, you then still had all of the DLC that was released for Breath of the Wild.
Right.
But so they have slowly been...
Yeah, they've been ramping it up. So it makes sense that they would do this for Pokemon now versus what they used to do, which is release a third game. So this...
Because how much would that, like...
It would have been full price. Yeah, it would have been full price. But this is a $30 DLC expansion, right? And you're getting the 2 islands?
Correct. You are getting the Crown Tundra and the Isle of Armor.
Right. And what's really cool about this is people would have been really upset if they hadn't done this, but the additional Pokemon that are added, I believe they said 200 plus.
Yes, there will be about 100 there will be a little over 100 released in both expansions.
Right. So without paying for the expansion, you'll be able to use those Pokemon in the base game. It'll be a free update even if you don't buy the expansion. So you can either trade.
You can't go there.
Yeah, you can't go to the location where I think they are. I don't think they're added to the previous locations, but you can trade from them, and if you had them previously, like in your Pokemon Home or National Dex or whatever they call it, you can transfer them into your game that way.
Yes, that is correct. If you have someone who has either expansion, they can trade you the Pokemon, they can trade you the items, because I believe it is in the Isle of Armor that they are bringing back the apricots so that you can make specific type of Pokeballs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they're bringing they're bringing that back, which I think is a very nice addition.
I think it's interesting the theme that they're going with. You know what I mean? They got a crown, they got armor, they got sword and shield. I mean,
Yeah, very knightly.
What
The
else they got
UK
next?
like It's like modern day Camelot type stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out to them bringing back look like Moltres.
Oh right.
Yes, all the
Legendary?
all the legendary.
Ooh.
Sorry, gamer. Like the last bit of your audio cut out there.
Sorry, all of the legendary birds have.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what that was. They're Galarianized.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like there's a Galarian Slowpoke that you can get, which has some tint of yellow.
Yeah, on his head.
yeah,
I saw
yeah.
that too. So yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool because the Galarian forms look kind of way better than than the old ones to me, in my opinion.
So I do want so this was a conversation that I actually had with my co-host. So I wanted to pose a question to you guys. How do you feel about the fact that instead of having so previously there was Sun and Moon, and then there was Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the idea of the expansion? And let me just take it one step further, because with this being an expansion, one can assume that there might be another to release the next versions of the Pokemon. Essentially, you'll just continuously build upon the Sword and Shield game that exists now versus you buying Super Shield and Shiny Sword or something along those lines. What do you guys how do you guys feel about that? Where in the event that you are a fan of Pokemon, would it just be Destiny? Boom, Destiny's
Basically turning Pokemon
example.
into a game as service.
The base.
Yeah.
It's an evolving world, so that way.
I think. Sorry, go ahead, Jeff. My
No,
bad.
you're good. Good.
What I was gonna say, I think that this is an interesting idea for base game. And I think for this time and age and the people that they're servicing, this is the way to go. Bring it.
Yeah.
Let's see it. I mean, if it's good enough, we'll jump on. Just like Iceborne kicked up Monster Hunter sales again because it's an amazing DLC, but it's just coming back. It's all based off of the Monster Hunter base game. So, hey, Pokemon, I love what they did with Sword and Shield. Bring us more. Let's see what these expansions have to offer and keep it going.
Anybody who got Pokemon Sword and Shield, I mean, are going to get the DLC kind of without thinking about it. I mean, I think it's one of those things.
I don't know about that.
Sigma like, nah.
Well, you also haven't gotten more than 3 gems. I might.
Do you have your badges
I
yet,
can't disprove that.
So I guess what Jeff is saying is anybody who plays the Pokemon game is gonna want to pick up that DLC, right?
I mean, for sure, Pokemon fans are gonna jump at this. It makes sense if you're the kind of person who would have just bought a third game, or the kind of psychopath who would buy both versions of the game, because there are a lot of people who do that. There's no reason why you wouldn't get this expansion, right? And I do think it makes a ton of sense for them to continuously release, the Pokemon that are missing that everyone was crying about, by doing an expansion and then release more Pokemon, because it probably just takes them time. Like, they have to render all these Pokemon in this new engine and stuff. So over time, they're probably going to get as many of the existing ones as they can back into the game world via this method,
Right.
So I do think eventually they will want to make a new game where they can basically recharge all the sales, because I think the drop off is going to be there. Like, with each expansion, you're probably going to get less and less people jumping into it. So
release like a Game of the Year edition.
Right, because well, no, I don't think Nintendo's ever done that for.
No. I mean, that's what most games like that, like Destiny did, where they released these DLCs.
Mhm.
Then they released a form of it where
everything is
the Taken King, but you got everything in between.
Right. But what I'm saying is, because that would be for like someone who never jumped in it in the first place to then try to just get everything all at once. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, like, how all 4 of us basically bought the base game, either Sword or Shield, and like maybe the 3 of you are going to get the DLC expansion. I'm not planning on it, at least not yet. Like, the next expansion, maybe just 2 of us of the 4 would be interested in that by then, So at some point, they're going to want to just re-energize the fan base and say brand new
Brand new
games.
game.
Right. You know?
I don't
Actually-
see myself buying a new game, a new Pokemon game. I pay for DLC. I don't see myself because there's a fine line.
Well, not
between
yet.
20. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's a fine line between $29.99 then $59.99.
Right. Especially because Pokemon Sword and Shield is practically new, so it definitely
Yeah.
wouldn't make sense. But the thing is, this is what they've been doing, and people have been buying it. So I don't understand Pokemon fans in the least,
Where,
because this is how they function.
Man.
Buy two versions of the same game that are identical except for like this and that, and then
Oh, you're talking about the, yeah. I think that's the cool thing about this one. When I'm playing Shield, I don't feel like I'm missing out a whole bunch from Sword, especially
No.
because of the surprise trade and all the people that I can meet up that's playing Sword. So,
Yeah.
the way they
Those-
did it, I think
those
it feels
ghost
pretty
moves.
fair. Yeah. You know what? We're
okay.
not
So
talking about that.
anything more on the Pokemon DLC?
I hope Jeff doesn't cheat in the Pokemon DLC like he did in the base game. Let's put it that way.
There's no way to stop him, so. So we're gonna move on to our next topic. This has been a pretty hot thing going around the internet, and I just want to preface this by saying some of the headlines are slight or very misleading.
They're
So-
clickbaity.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the idea that the Xbox Series X won't have console exclusive for at least a year after launch. A lot of people jumped up in arms about this over the internet. A lot of PlayStation fanboys went on the attack, as they are known to do. But
Those Sony ponies.
But what this actually means is pretty similar to the same thing that Sony announced just a little while ago. The fact that PlayStation 1 through 3 through 4 rather games are all going to be playable on a PS5. Xbox is saying that Xbox Series X games will be playable on Xbox One, even the base model Xbox One, not just the Xbox One X, in some fashion for at least a year. So they're not going to cut out anyone who doesn't jump on the Xbox Series X right away.
Yeah.
What they didn't go into detail about is how. And what I'm predicting is that their streaming service, their xCloud service, is going to be how they make this function. So like without having developers compromise their game by making an Xbox, like a base Xbox One game and then putting that on the Series X, is by allowing an app or so to basically just stream that game in full resolution from Microsoft Game Service.
Yeah. Huh.
So
And
that's
then they
that's
just cut
my
off
take.
when they need to.
Right. Right. Or not. Or just never cut it off and just have everything play everything because they just want you in the Xbox ecosystem.
There we go. They want you. They want you in their ecosystem. They want you to be able to play whatever you want, wherever you want, but on our stuff.
Right.
Like, yeah,
Facts.
which is to a point made previously. That's just kind of where things are turning with at least certain levels of development. I still love my physical copies. I still love, downloading a game and then putting it here. Though, just like with my Nintendo Switch, if I want to go play Skyrim on the toilet, then I want to go play Skyrim on the toilet. I just want to be able to go and play what I want to play when I want to play it. Joining the Insider program and being able to play games on my phone. Like, connect my Elite controller to my phone and, flip it up. I'm playing Overwatch, like on my phone. Like, I would never really think about that. But to be able to just stream whatever game just to the box and then play it wherever, all you got to do is just sign into Microsoft to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think I can get behind that.
Give me that convenience.
They also mentioned that they're likening their new hardware structure to that of the PC in the sense that games can basically be tiered. Because on a PC, you can have really old hardware and still play with certain current games because you basically
You can
take
adjust
down the
the settings.
graphics. You
Yeah.
can take down the lighting, the ambient occlusion, this, that, and the third. I don't think that's outside of the realm possibility either to have builds like that run on your console where if you do have the Xbox One version of that game, you just have blockier characters or something, If that's the way if you don't want to upgrade the actual hardware.
Yeah.
I think that's also another route they could go. That
One of
doesn't
my,
compromise the Xbox Series X version.
one of my coworkers, he's a staunch, he's a Sony pony, as gamer like to say. But he did say, like, if the Xbox Series X becomes a $500 gaming PC, he's gonna pick it up 100%.
Yeah, and to Casey's point, there is I know in Monster Hunter, when you download it, you can choose to have to either be performance or graphics.
Yeah.
In Borderlands 3, you can choose performance or graphics. When the game first starts out, it obviously chooses graphics. It wants you to, see the hairs from, Zane's hair, or, whatever the case may be. Now, I have switched it over to performance, and I am noticing things are significantly snappier. So if they can do that, but at the console level, oh yeah, you're going to be bringing in a whole lot of people. Because me, I'm not the biggest fan of graphics. The game can be blocky. Thomas Was Alone.
It was a literal block.
that game was literal blocks, but the game was really fun. So if I can play newer games on older hardware, just crank down everything, whatever, so I don't see, Batman's completely chiseled chest, but I can still,
sort of chiseled.
Right, sort of chiseled, but I can still beat the crap out of the Joker. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I think it's a good halfway point for, because honestly, you could have someone who wants to play your brand new games go and buy an old console and then be able to play the brand new games. So you're still getting console sales, like maybe not as much from the brand new thing, but they really do seem to be de-emphasizing that. What I will say though is they seem to be getting their messaging kind of twisted, which is a issue they ran into the beginning of this generation. You know what I mean? The fact that all the headlines say they won't have console exclusives for a year, that's problematic, because that's something that sticks in your head. People will go and repeat that to their friends who don't read gaming news, and then they'll just think that that's the case without really knowing what's going on. And that can really hurt them.
It really can. And that's why social media, that's why just media in general is so important when it comes to these kind of releases and into the industry. You know what I mean?
That's why we exist.
That's exactly why we exist.
Which is why more of you need to be listening to us. So I'll just say that.
I think this is a good move, but unfortunately it was not, the words were not necessarily chose properly for the distribution of this news. But what it seems, at least with me, Microsoft's main goal is play what you want, how you want, when you want, but in our box with our stuff. Like, it's
we're
not
gonna forget you.
Yeah, it's like, hey, were you enjoying that game over there? Oh, great. Well, then go pick it up. Go pick it up on your phone or whatever. I don't know if Microsoft is ever going to go anything where Google Stadia is trying to go, but I like the idea of convenience, because as a soon-to-be middle-aged gamer, I will pay for convenience. I want to be able to do what I want when I want, and if company blah gives me the ability to play to do just that, and it is a service that I can depend on, then I will pay for that convenience.
Yep. I feel that.
Was there anything you wanted to add to the
I think
Series X?
People just assumed that, like you said, it was, you're not gonna play third-party games. Only third-party games are gonna come out on the Series X on release. I don't think a lot of people kind of saw that it's not gonna be exclusively to the Series X. If they make something, it'll be backwards compatible, which lets people who don't have the money to pony out for a new console can still attribute to the software sales. So that's it.
Okay, so that's gonna do it for our topics. We're gonna move on to the mailbag. friend of the show, Sticks360. Thank you, my man.
Thank you, Snicks.
He has another great question for us. He asks, do you ever get bored with certain video game genres? Yes.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
Can I give mine
boy,
first?
Yes.
Yeah, go right ahead.
No.
Because I constantly talk about this with some of my buddies. MOBAs. There is not a lot of MOBAs that hold my attention for a long period of time. I cannot stand most of them. Now, I'm not saying there's no skill involved. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that people can't be creative in MOBAs. I feel like, and some people might disagree with this, but I feel like MOBAs is the esports equivalent to baseball, where you know
that is very well put.
like, you know that they're going to go on this certain path, and there's only one way to score it, and that's basically it. Like, you just watching them do the same... I don't know, and I'll talk more about doing the same thing over and over when we get to our later subject, because I have something to say about that. But I feel like MOBAs are just, the visuals are just too predictable, and it's boring for me to watch, and it's boring for me to play.
I still can't parse what's even happening in most of them, and like it makes me feel like the oldest man in the universe. When like the crowd, like I'm like, because I work for an esports center, so League of Legends, for example, is like a big deal there.
Huge, yeah.
So like I'll watch games like from championship games and stuff, and you'll see the commentators lose their minds, the crowd going wild, and I'm sitting here like
you gotta zoom in. You're like, oh yeah, he did die, huh?
Like, like that was a death. Like, what happened?
Well, for somebody who actually plays MOBAs, I think when League of Legends does come to console, I would be interested to see you both try it.
I will try it. I want to understand it better.
Honestly, the MOBA that I do want on console, and you guys might not agree with me, Heroes of the Storm. I actually liked playing that, and I think it's more because,
but it got left behind by Blizzard.
By Blizzard, yeah,
they like just stopped supporting it, right?
Yeah, it was really bad. But I know the lore behind it. I think that's the biggest appeal for me. But yeah,
for me, having someone to explain everything to me, because my buddy Joe, that's why I got into MOBAs. He was teaching me how to play League of Legends. And having someone explain the things to me and actually trying out the different champions and stuff, it kind of started to add to. It got me interested in it. Before then, I had no interest in playing MOBAs at all. But having somebody explain to me what was going on, what this does, what that does, it kind of eased the introduction into MOBAs for me. And ever since then, I played League of Legends. I've played Guardians of Middle Earth.
Yeah, I played some of that. I didn't like it.
Yeah, Casey just doesn't like Lord of the Rings. But
it's not true.
To answer the next question, I don't think I have ever gotten tired. Oh no, I used to play a lot of Madden. I got tired of the sports genre.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I stopped buying them every year and just gave it up altogether.
So why do you think that you did that?
Because it was the same thing over and over again, just different.
Right.
And for me, sports games, I'm not one to play a career or to play against a computer. I pick up a sports game to play against friends, and unfortunately, my friends don't play sports games anymore. So it kind of helped to. There was nothing keeping me there.
Makes sense.
I will say, with the recent sports games and the attention to story and the career mode, I've gained more interest. Not enough to really pick it up and put that time in.
Did you purchase?
That's why I said. I literally just said. Not enough to pick it up yet, but I've definitely been like, okay, maybe I'll watch some streams on this and see how people are going through these stories and see the cameos that come in and the voice acting and all that.
So you could see yourself buying one maybe in the next week or so, month?
Year, maybe.
I actually thought about getting that first NBA 2K that had the story mode in it.
Yeah, that's the one.
I thought about picking that one up.
Instead of getting it.
Not getting it. That's what happened. That's all.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying that I'm leaning back into interest with it, but I'm not there yet.
Gotcha.
For me, in terms of getting bored, I for a long time was pretty much done with the platforming genre.
You?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know that's weird to say now because I kind of, and honestly, the thing that got me back into it was the same thing that kicked me out of it. So Super Mario World was basically the first game that I really played all the way through. Like, so I was a big Mario fan, and I played pretty much every Mario game that I could up until Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii. And
I heard that was one of the best ones.
that's the thing. It got like a 10 on IGN. It got like great scores everywhere. And I played through the entire thing and was bored of the entire game. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm into platformers anymore. And any other Mario game that came after that, like Super Mario Galaxy 2, any of the new Mario Bros, this, that, and the third, completely ignored. And then that translated into any, you know, indie games or any other games of platform. Because like if Mario wasn't interested in me as a platformer, I wasn't paying attention to anything else. You know what I mean? So it wasn't until Mario Odyssey on the Switch that I went back, played through that, and was like, okay, there is more you can do in a platforming game. And it really just, from that point forward, I was back on with platformers. Like,
is that when you went back to like Mega Man and
the thing,
Hollow Knight?
Yeah, sort of. Cause pretty much Cause that was after I got the Switch. Like I played Mario Odyssey on Snake's 360 Switch, for example, actually, because I didn't have one of my own yet. Like I played it to review it. So then at that point, I was sold on the fact that okay, there's more in platformers. So once I got my own Switch, Hollow Knight was one of the first games I had on it. I got the Mega Man X collection, which is one of my favorite Mega Man games. I started playing those again. So I basically fell into a rut, but platformers have evolved, and I don't know if maybe I was just wrong and I was tired of just the Mario formula up to that point, or there was just some kind of renaissance and platformers basically breathed new life into themselves, and then I got reinterested. But for a while I was just you couldn't tell me anything about a platformer. I wasn't gonna touch it.
Okay.
So do I ever get bored with certain video game genres? One has already been hit on. So yes, sports. I don't understand. It's like the teams change, especially more specifically football games.
Mm-hmm.
My eyes just completely glaze over, and I go and watch paint dry because that's what's more interesting. And the other one would have to be, I don't know if this would be considered a genre, but it is today. Is for this purposes, FPS war shooters, because
I can see that.
Because for a while I was like, man, everyone's playing like that. Similar to Jeff, I'm going to play these games with other people. I'm not just going to play this by myself because what do I care about the campaign? It's the same. It's basically the same campaign as the last game. So what's the point? But I'm looking at it and it's like, well, okay, so what's different? What is the unique selling point for this? And for a while, there just wasn't.
Yeah, there was. They were really just
more,
and they annualized them, so the turnaround they really couldn't do too much to change things up either.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, so you got Call of Duty Modern 2 and then Advanced, then blah blah blah, and then now we're going back around the cycle back to Modern Warfare.
Right. They just did a full time loop.
Like, okay, and I'm just like, why? I'm like, let me go play something else, because like, you know, you put the bullets in the gun, you shoot the gun at the bad guy. Okay, like what else really?
What's different?
Exactly. Like, oh, if I get 500 headshots, then I get a diamond cameo of my gun that no one else is really going to be able to really see, because I'm never really going to be close enough to an enemy to be like, oh wow, that's a really nice skin on that gun. Like, come on, I can't. I just, unfortunately, I can't get into that.
Yeah, you gotta make it a little bit more interesting.
Exactly, and maybe it's because, as I mentioned before, I am an older gamer. You can't just dangle something pretty in front of me and be like, you buy it. It's like, no, like you got to give me a little bit more than that. I need substance. Give me something I can sink my teeth into. Going back to a nice beautiful cake filled with styrofoam pellets.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you have to be right.
So that was our mailbag topic. We're gonna move now to our top 3. Try to get this over quick because we are kind of running long.
We just so excited to be back. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah, so we want to give you guys
Podcast
a
of the
ton of
year.
content you've been missing
Got
us. and
so
we
much to
understand.
talk about. Yeah.
So-
Let's knock this out.
In honor of the new decade, we're going to talk about the last one in terms of our top 3 games from it. So,
Yeah.
I'll go first because I have these written down right here, and you guys can get into yours. Destiny 2. Well, Destiny period, but Destiny 2 because it's a better version of Destiny.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like it ushered in this era of games as service, and that's very significant. Like, the way games kind of just continuously live on and become a lifestyle for some people is kind of incredible. And
Yeah.
I like that trend. Like, I like what they've done, constantly iterating. It's similar to what MMOs have done in the past, but kind of bringing it to, consoles and into different genres that can carry, Twitch reflexes and stuff. I think that's amazing. And the fact that it's spread to all these other games is dope. So I really honor Destiny 2 with that, and which is why I'm putting it on this list. My second would be Mass Effect 2.
Wow. I love that game. I did not see it on your top of the decade, but
I gotta
that's
come
awesome.
up with another top.
Am I? I'm covering your stuff.
Yeah.
My bad. I mean,
You good?
Mass Effect 2 specifically
I should've went
too.
first.
It kind of set up a standard in terms of video game storytelling. Like, there's some other games I probably could have went with, but Mass
That
Effect
game
2,
was fundamentally solid.
yeah, it tells you a phenomenal story. It has an amazing world. Like, everything that's in the codex in that game is interesting. Like, I would read a Mass Effect book if I was the kind of person who just read books, but I'm not. But, like, it's an amazing world, amazing gameplay, but the way it tells its story, that lets you live the story and feel like you're in control of that story, is amazing. And, like, I don't think there's been a game that's really done it to that effect since. Like, and I'd be interested to get back. Like, maybe The Witcher 3. I haven't really gone through it that deeply. But it does seem like there's good story in that. But Mass Effect 2 kind of set a precedent for just telling good story and telling good RPG story in, like, the modern era. So, like, I really do credit that for this decade. And my last one is Bloodborne.
Okay.
So, it's a PS4 exclusive. And it is the best From Software game created. I'm loving Sekiro, but I do still think Bloodborne is a better game. Mechanically, the way it's the way its mechanics work with the story in the game, the way the story is cryptic, but it's there. The way that game makes you feel as you play it is unlike anything else. Like, I love that game, and it's just masterful gameplay mechanics. Like, the way that game feels to just play is fantastic. And any other game that looks at combat needs to look at what Bloodborne did. They don't need to copy it exactly, but just look at its design, theory. You know what I mean? Like the way it gives you certain options against certain enemies, and like that back and forth, like the rhythm of combat, like the way levels, like Dark Souls 1, the way levels like twist and turn and take you into other ones, like the world design, all of that all just fits together so perfectly. That game is fantastic. And it's the game that taught me that I actually like Lovecraftian horror, which was not a thing that I was aware of. But so that just sticks with me. That's probably just one of the best gaming experiences I've had, like, in my life, period. So I definitely had to put it on this list. So those are my 3.
Okay.
Since you took 2 of mine.
My
Dang,
bad.
2?
My bad.
So my first one's gonna be Final Fantasy 14.
Stop. I was just about to say how these 2 chuckleheads ain't logged in a minute.
Oh my god.
No, but for real. It's gonna be The Witcher 3. So The Witcher 3. I know I'm just now getting back up to speed in it, but when I first played it, I couldn't put it down. I was doing all the side quests, hunting down random boss encounters in different areas, picking up all the diagrams for the different pieces of armor. Just like the show, it's a great game. The lore's there. The different monsters from different types of mythology all come together.
That's one thing I do like about The Witcher is the monster inclusion. It seems like they're coming from everywhere.
And you got to hunt each one almost differently. So it's kind of like
Right.
a more immersive Monster Hunter for me. It's the monsters are very, very unique. Not to say Monster Hunters aren't. These are very, very, very unique, and there's always a
Specific.
a story tied to
Right, yeah, like they're
That's
very
cool.
they're like
there's
living
always
things.
Exactly, and there's always multiple ways to do different things depending on your level, depending on your axie, how far you level that up. You can just kind of have somebody almost do what you want them to do. You might try that in another situation. There might be a second person watching and say, "Oh, no, he's using his Witcher magic on you," you know. So you can't really, that really won't work. You know what I mean? And the person will be less trustworthy of you because you tried to use that. So we're trying to affix all to all conversations. And it's just an amazing game. Even though the game was only $60, there were almost 3 games inside of that game.
Huh.
Just because of the amount of hours it would take to do everything.
Interesting.
One of the main reasons why I was so
Put off.
yeah by jumping into it, because I'm like, I'm not ever gonna finish it.
Well, the thing is, you can always jump back in, jump back out, jump back in, jump back out. I always find myself playing The Witcher when whatever I'm playing currently is stale, or I'm playing something where it's very multiplayer oriented, and I don't want to go too far, because then I can't play with the people I'm already playing with, and I can pop onto The Witcher and kind of play what I want.
Gotcha.
The show helped kind of push that along. Number 2 is going to be Dark Souls 3. And probably was my favorite one of the series. I played 1, I played 2, I played 3, I played all the DLC for 1 and 2. 3 was my favorite just because it helped to expand, because it was a story being told, even though each Ashen one was different than the last. This one kind of opened it up for me. The weapons were very unique. I mean, I had a dragon spear that was a spear sword that when you held it, you can use it as a sword. When you held it in one hand, you can use it as a spear, and you can call down lightning. Casey might remember that. But being the thing that sets Dark Souls, because me and Casey were pretty opposite. He loved Bloodborne. I thought Bloodborne was okay. For me, the combat in Dark Souls, sword and shield, whether I went with a sword and a shield or I didn't, being able to cast magic, I could do whatever I wanted to do. I can do a dex build, I can do a magic build, I can do a faith build. I can throw lightning, I can cast fireballs, I can use swords, I can use spears, I can use a bow. I can do whatever I want to do. And the topping of it was being able to invade other people and also be invaded.
All right. So I'm going to first start show my weeb. First, Persona 5.
The children's show.
Yes, it had to be up here.
Persona 5.
Yeah.
A video game. There's a variety of video games out there. I love a video game that makes me feel, that engages me, that either makes me want to toss my controller, then pick it up and jump back in, or I never want to let it go. Persona 5 hurt me so badly. And I was just like, I need to go play that again. Because there's something that I missed, or I didn't get every single Persona, or I didn't do something with that archive. And every single story was really emotional. It really, really got me. And so I played it, and now it's going to be on the Switch, and I'm going to be like, well, I guess I'm getting this game again. Like, so Persona 5. And then secondly, Undertale.
Oh, I still yet to play that.
Yay.
Undertale, that game hit everyone so hard. Like, it took over the internet, I would say, more than Five Nights at Freddy's, with just how much it exploded. And I mean past the video game, because you had people cosplaying Undertale characters. You had whole alternative universes that were made from this very simple looking game.
Simple. Yeah.
Like this was not a detailed game in sense of graphics. It was a severely detailed game in the sense of story, and people who still want to play this game now will look at it and almost the same things will surprise them each and every time, the same twist, and it's like, you know, it's coming. How many remixes, like, people have remixed Toss a Coin to Your Witcher? How many remixes of Megalovania? How many remixes of, like, and you haven't even played the game, but people know, oh yeah, that's Megalovania in the background of that YouTube remix or something like that. So there's that. And then finally, a game that I've put well over 100 hours in, Borderlands 2. And I don't mean just the base game. I'm talking every single DLC, in addition to the Headhunter packs, because that was an amazing thing that they did, because people was like, yes, give it to us, and then they were like, oh, Tiny Tina's Bunkers and Badasses, and then after that they were like, oh, you guys want, well, we got some Headhunter stuff. Awesome. And people just ate that up. Like, I was pulling up my character builds right now. I had 18.
Wow.
18 different characters with from 0 to Maya. Gage to Maya to Creep the Psycho, who was my favorite. Like, it was just so memorable that I can go back, pick up that game, and I could just do it all over again and feel like I would lose nothing. You know, shout out to my wonderful wife. For one of my birthdays, she farmed a boss for 4 hours to get me a weapon. That was how much I loved this game.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Like, so yeah, that's last but not least. So yeah, so Persona 5, Undertale, Borderlands 2.
I feel it.
Nice.
Okay, so for me, you already know. Let's start off. Star Wars has to be in the mix.
Shocking.
Shocking, right? What I did find shocking, actually, real quick, is that Monster Hunter World wasn't on your list, Sigma.
Because honestly, I feel like Monster Hunter World is kind of an offshoot of Destiny and Bloodborne, like the mechanics and the service of, like.
I can give you that.
So I didn't want to. That was my reasoning.
Got you. All right. So anyway, back to Star Wars. Knights of the Old Republic 2 came out in 2004. I had to double check to make sure it was in this decade. I love that game, 100%. A lot of people say the first one's better, but that's a lot of people. That's not me. I love the second game. I played it with my brother, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, where I did the bad side, he did the good side, and we kind of did it back. It was my first real introduction, without even knowing it, into D&D stats like role-playing game, and the fact that it was in the Star Wars universe was just an extra bonus for me. I loved it. I will continue to play that game whenever I need that feeling of nostalgia, and whenever I want to just jump back into that era of the Star Wars universe.
Cool.
I got it on Xbox. My girlfriend bought it for me because I loved that game so much. So I own that. I love it, and I'm going to continue to play it. The next one, as Jeff so eloquently mentioned before, is Final Fantasy XIV. I played that game when it first came out, and I didn't like it. When it first came out, didn't like it.
Yeah, apparently it was bad.
You know, I couldn't understand it. It's not because the tutorials were bad or anything like that. I just wasn't in that head frame. Nowadays, I've run a free company for about 2 years now. The Gentle Guard, shout out to GG. And I love it. There's a lot of things you can do in it that you can't do in most other MMOs. There's huge social aspects to it. There's huge mechanical aspects when it comes to the fighting, or I should say combat. And the character customization is so detailed and gorgeous. Every piece of gear in that just fits the theme, and they still update it and get new stuff, and it's a gorgeous game. I've met lots of great people, lots of people who listen to us here. They found us found out about us through the Free Company, and you know, that network is just ever expanding. I have a Instagram for my character, y'all. That's how detailed this stuff is. Like, I swear, my character Instagram at one point had more followers than my personal Instagram. It was ridiculous. But anyway, there's a huge community out there of really good players. Like, in general, it's probably the least toxic gaming community that I've been a part of, and I love it. Yeah. And last but not least, another personal one for me, Overwatch.
Of course.
I love Overwatch.
Of course.
I knew it.
And
if something is not related to Overwatch, it ain't blue. It's just not.
Like, I really do love Overwatch. Now, there's a couple of reasons why, and real to kind of make it short. One, my girl and I bonded over Overwatch when we first started talking. So that's always going to be a selling point for me, you know. Second of all, I don't understand, and I mentioned this earlier, I don't understand how I can play the same couple maps with the same characters for hours and hours and hours at a time, playing the same game modes. Like, it's the replayability for some reason just clicks in my head. I love most of the character stories. I love all the character designs. Just, it's so satisfying to do well in that game.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah. So I love Overwatch, and I love the way they reveal things.
Is amazing.
Yeah. So that's my top 3 for the decade. I had some honorable mentions.
Real quick, list them off. What are
they? Okay. Monster Hunter World, GTA 5, what was this other one? Oh, and Fire Emblem Awakening. I love that game.
I wish I played that, but I didn't.
That one was great. It was, yeah. But anyway, we can talk about that another time.
Okay, so we're going to wrap things up. We're going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Jeff, where can people find you on the internet?
So you can find me on Superman Jeff 12 on Twitter, on Mixer, and Superman Jeff 12 Please on Facebook.
That's right.
Mr. Gamer, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, SBRMRGAMER on Twitter, the Start Button Review on Facebook. And then you can also find me SBR Reports, my podcast, which is on, I think it's on just about every listening device plus your toilet.
That's not a bad place to listen to something.
It's reports. It's not review, y'all. I'm just letting you guys know.
Yeah, SBR Report.
Blue, where can people find you?
It's your boy, Blue Bones, BLUB0NES. You can find me on Twitter at the same handle, Blue Bones, and on Mixer at Blue Bones XB as an Xbox, Wakanda Forever. Yeah, and then on Facebook with Play with Blue Bones.
All right,
Sigma, what you got, bruh?
Yeah, you can find me at SigmaGears9 on pretty much all social media. You can find my reviews on escapistmagazine.com as well as their YouTube. Please, if you have not already, subscribe to the BBETGaming YouTube channel.
That's right.
I believe there's also a BBET Twitter now?
Yeah, there's a at BBETGaming for Twitter, and the Facebook is in the works right now too. So you guys get to see everything all in one spot.
Right. So, and if you aren't already, make sure to follow Gamer on his Mixer. He needs to get his followers up. And follow everybody on Twitter. Jeff has a Twitter now. So, you know, just keep us in your hearts and minds. We'll be back next week. That was it for episode 30. Thanks, everybody.
Bang.
Peace.
Deuces.
Run like baseball with these hoes. Steam will never chase y'all like a killer in the movie. Whole squad full of shooters like Golden State.